If you ever struggle staying consistent in fitness, this video is for you. So when it comes to being consistent in fitness, this thing here called the change curve is extremely important. And what you do in this change curve is extremely important to whether or not you'll be actually consistent or not. So this change curve is slightly modified to the regular one. Normally it says informed optimism and then success up here, but this one says uninformed optimism, and you'll see why in a sec. So you start at informed optimism. So at informed optimism, this is when you find out about, let's just say, tracking calories, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna buy a scale, I'm gonna download the app, I figured out all the best apps to use, now I'm gonna start tracking calories. You're optimistic informed. You're optimistic about tracking calories. And as you continue down the line, you kind of realize, oh shit, this is hard. I'm not getting results as quick as I thought. This is actually getting hard. Oh my God, oh my God. And then you get to informed pessimism. This is the stage where you're like, oh my, it's actually harder than I thought it was gonna be. I'm not getting results as quick as I thought. And then as you continue down the line, you get to the valley of despair. This is kind of when you like drop your meal prep while you're making food, for example. And everything is just going wrong, and the hill to success seems massive, it seems huge, and you kind of want to give up. By the way, it makes sense and it's okay for you to be in the valley of despair, but it matters what you do to get out. So some people, once they hit the valley of despair, they make a massive mistake, and that's changing their path. So instead of just sticking out the valley of despair and going up into informed optimism, wow, this is actually going okay, and then they get to success. Instead of doing that, they decide here that, damn, actually calorie tracking's hard. I'm gonna try something else because something else will definitely be easier and work better. So say for example, that could be the carnivore diet, or I'm gonna cut out all sugar and that's gonna work. So they find a shiny object and they're like, wow, this other diet's gonna work. What was I doing tracking calories? I'm just gonna try this other thing. And this is usually because tracking calories was too hard for them. So at about this point, they decide to change their path, which is a massive mistake. So now they have uninformed optimism about this new path. So instead of just reaching success here, if they went through this process with calorie tracking, stuck with calorie tracking and went up to success, instead of doing that, they changed their path at this point. So now they have uninformed optimism. They have optimism of this new path that they've decided to choose. And they repeat this entire cycle over and over and over again. But if they stuck with calorie tracking through the valley of despair, up here, they'd get to here, informed optimism, and then keep going and get to success. In simple words, they basically decided to quit when it got really hard instead of continuing out into success. The worst thing you can do right here is changing your path. And this is probably why you can't stay consistent with anything in fitness. If you want the results that other people also want in fitness, you have to do the things that other people are not willing to do.